Welcome to the Real Estate Real Success podcast, where we talk about key business successes and lessons learned along the way in the hopes of inspiring brokerage owners and managers to find new ways to grow their business. I'm Chiyoko Kakino, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the value of mentorship and support in attracting and retaining new agents. I am super lucky to be joined by Michael LaPrairie. He is the owner of Century 21 In Town in beautiful, sunny Vancouver, British Columbia today. So, Michael, thank you so much for being with us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm specifically excited to talk to you about mentorship specifically, because a lot of our C21 brokerage owners consider you a mentor. So why don't we start off by you telling us a little bit about your background and your journey in owning your own real estate brokerage?
Oh, wow. I'm old. Might be a long story. I actually started working for Century 21 in '93. Brian Rushton hired me when I was living in Calgary at the time in the insurance business, general insurance business. And I moved back to Vancouver, where I'm from, and started my journey there. I started selling franchises, and then I started selling more franchises with the Charlwood Group that owned Uniglobe Travel and Centum Financial. And then 13 years of doing that, decided to buy my own company. And Heather and I, who's my partner in this brokerage and all our businesses, we looked at starting our own office on the North Shore in West Vancouver. That's where we live. And this office that we originally converted into Century 21 came up for sale. I helped with all the rebrokering of the sales, and I bought it. So that's how the journey started. We bought it in April of 2005.
2005. Thanks, Michael. And I know that you were very successful selling franchises. So nice to see that you believe so much in the product that you actually purchased your own brokerage. Just for the listeners out there, just to tell you a little bit about the Charlwood Pacific Group, since Michael brought it up. So the Charlwood Pacific Group owns the rights to Century 21 here in Canada. We are 11,000 plus strong from coast to coast. They also own Uniglobe Travel International, which is in 60 countries worldwide. Also Centum Financial, which is about over 200 brokerages from coast to coast, mortgage brokerages from coast to coast, and real property management that specializes in residential property management. So I just want to give everyone, since you brought it up, everyone a little bit of background on that. So I really want to talk about your growth of your brokerage and some of the tactics that you're using to recruit new agents. But before that, I want to spend some time talking about the support that you provide agents when they join you. So more specifically, I want to talk about something that I think is extremely important in maintaining the sustainability of the industry, and that's helping new agents that come into the industry be successful in their careers. With the current housing boom, of course, a lot of more people are exploring a career in real estate. Either they've lost their job in the pandemic, or the pandemic has pushed them to try something new, but more people are choosing real estate as a career. Also, I think that they know that the housing prices continue to increase. I think they might know what a potential agent commission might be on a property sale. And then they look at the equation and think, you know what, I can do that. But we all know that being a real estate agent takes a lot of hard work, and some of the new people coming into this industry might not realize just how hard it is. In fact, some of the real estate agents don't even make it to their second year. So I know, Michael, you're very involved in the association and the board. Did you have any statistics around the success of new agents coming into this industry?
Yeah, well, from my notes, and everybody has something a little bit different, for the Vancouver or Lower Mainland area where we are, half the people that sign up for the course don't complete it. Half the people that pass their exam won't make it a year. And those that make it a year, half won't make it 5 years. So there is a slow chisel down. But, no one goes into the business wanting to fail. That's exactly it. It's the only reason why somebody fails in this business is lack of effort on their side and their brokerage's side. And I do my best not to have those fingers pointed at us. So it's important when you hire someone, you pick the right person.
Yeah, that's great. And I know that your brokerage provides a lot of support to new agents, and part of the support that you provide, and we are going to get into a lot of the details of the support that you provide, but some of the support you provide is a mentorship program. And it's funny because someone last week said to me, mentorship is the new training. So why do you think a mentorship program is so important when helping new agents be successful? Because as you just said, the stats aren't looking good.
Um, I guess because that's how I was brought up. I had some great mentors over the years in different careers, from a kid to out of school to here. And I think it's really important that when someone steps in this business for the first time, that you show them that you've got a plan for them. So since we bought the company, we started with designing a mentorship program, because there was one, but it wasn't tangible. You couldn't see it. It was just all in their heads. And so every year we'd start building out stronger plans, because every year something changes in this profession.
Well, we're going to talk about some of the lessons learned. And as you say, you're continuously improving this mentorship program. So we'll talk about that. But before we do that, can you talk a little bit about how your mentorship works? Can you give us an overview?
Yeah, it's simple, because that's what I'm a simple guy. It's a three-prong approach. There's three departments that are directly involved in the mentorship program. First department is managing brokers department, contracts, wordings, clauses. Paragon, which is our back end operating system, where all the data is for the real estate. Managing broker is responsible for the company license and the agent's license. And the managing broker wants to make sure that the customer is protected, that the customer has the best wording that represents them in the purchase of a property or the sale of their property. The next department is the mentor. We have 20 mentors in this office out of 100. I think we have about 140 licenses today. 16 of them started their career here with us, so that's pretty cool. Our mentors are making anywhere from $250,000 to over $1 million a year selling real estate. So to me, that's somebody that's full-time in the business, but more importantly, they're good. My front desk tells me, and my conveyance tells me, that they're very good at their contracts and the documents. Managing broker doesn't have any issues in regards to them being beside somebody new. And for me, it's for that new person to see that they're not supposed to be copying their mentor, but to absorb that in order to have success in this business, you got to have a goal, you got to have a structure, you got to have a routine and a plan. And all the mentors do. They're not flying from the seat of their pants. And the more important part is the mentor is there to help that new agent on their first three transactions, whether it's three buyers, three sellers, but to stand beside the agent when they're in a negotiation to help with that process, because it is a difficult business. It's not rocket science, but it is difficult. And when you have somebody at your side that's done it hundreds and hundreds of times, it gives you more assurance that you're doing it right. Your customer loves the idea because they probably have a good relationship with the new agent, but they know the new agent is being treated extremely well by the brokerage, and then the brokerage cares about the transaction that's about to happen. And then the third department is the marketing. It's your business plan, it's your focus, it's your goal, it's your website, it's your CRM, it's the marketing center that the system has, it's the resource center to show you how to drive the car. And so when you have three departments that specialize in their, I call them superpowers, then that agent is being serviced a great way. Most other brokerages, it's one person doing everything, and that person's good at doing everything, but they weren't amazing. So let's have you being taught by someone that's amazing at contracts, amazing at boots to the ground, being a professional realtor in the business, and amazing at marketing, business plan, strategy, follow up. And that's what we designed.
Well, that sounds great. And it sounds like, as you said, you've covered all the areas to help a new agent be knowledgeable and really be confident in taking that step in their career. So let's talk a little bit more about I think you called it Department 2, which is the actual mentors. You said you had about 20 mentors. So what exactly is the role of a mentor? So if I was going to be a mentor for your brokerage, Michael, what would you say my commitments needed to be?
Well, your commitment is to be there for the new professional, but not be spoon feeding the new professional. The new professional has to stand up on their own and understand that you, the mentor, are busy doing your own business. So get caught up and catch up and stay beside the mentor. And the mentor's responsibility is to show the new professional what to do when that circumstance comes up. We're not here to teach you how to paint the wall blue if you don't have any blue paint. That's kind of how I say it. It's follow what they do. Mentor's going to let them shadow them on doing open houses, on doing showings, on going in on a listing presentation, on submitting an offer or doing a buyer's offer in person, as long as the mentor's customer allows it, type of thing. So at the end of the day, the mentor is there because most of the transactions are happening after hours, in my opinion, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and managing broker and office are 9 to 5 people. So the mentor can step in after hours to give the managing broker and me, for an example, a little bit more free time on our own, because the mentor can handle all those questions or 97% of the questions. And if they can't, then they come to us in the evening and then we can help them. So it's part of a sharing of a workload, but the mentor gets compensated for it.
And I think that, as if I was a new agent, what I'd really appreciate about that relationship would be, I could give, you practice giving a listing presentation, you got it all together, you can practice doing that, but sometimes you can't foresee some of the obstacles you might run into. So being able to, as you say, go on a listing presentation if the customer allows that, or just bouncing ideas off of someone. What if they, a customer said this, what would you say? And really learning off of that person before you actually get to those obstacles. You're actually able to kind of forecast what some of those obstacles are and have at least some information that you can use to provide that great experience for potential clients.
Yeah, it's they help them answer the questions if they get stuck. Everybody gets a little nervous. And the other side of it, the mentor is going to tell the new professional if they're dealing with a real customer or not. And most new people in this business, they hang on to the first 5 people that ever showed them an interest in real estate. And sometimes those 5 people could be the worst people to hang out with. And I'd rather my agents, whether they're established or new, be marketing for customers that they want rather than ones that have just fallen on their lap. They're going to waste all their time and frustrate the whole process.
Right. So you talked a little bit about, the qualifications a mentor might have, someone that's in the real estate business full time. I think you said anywhere between 250 to $1 million, that has good standings, that, provides a great level of service to clients. And I'm sure that they're collaborative too, and they're great people. How do you choose that person? Do you just kind of have a checklist and say, okay, this person maybe can be a mentor? Do they volunteer themselves? What does that process look like?
Both. We reach out a couple times a year to see if anybody wants to be a mentor. And then what we do is we tell them what that position is and describe it to them in detail. When you hang out with a realtor for years, you understand who you think would be a good mentor. And I have a couple in my office that I keep saying every year, you'd be amazing at this, and they just don't want to do it. So it's, but a lot of the ones that we have, like I said, 16 of them, we're in that position as a new person, and maybe it's a little bit more competitive. They can do it a little bit better, or they appreciated what they have and they want to pay it back. So hard question to answer. We reach out, they reach out, and it's a collaboration of best practices going forward.
Right. And what kind of qualities does a good mentor have? I'm sure you've seen, because you've been running this program, I'm sure you've seen just amazing mentors. What are some of the similarities that those amazing mentors have?
Patience. They're good. They're good listeners. they catch in between the lines, the scenarios. They've been in a lot of different positions in their real estate career, from dealing with tough customers to simple deals to cooperating realtors on the other side, and maybe not so cooperating. But it's they treat it like a business. They're in it full time. They know what the responsibilities are, and to me, I would want to be trained by a person or supported by a person that I choose in my company to be a mentor to. So it's just a well-rounded professional, and it's not how much money they make or how many transactions they do. It's the process in which they go through it and how it comes into the office all means a lot to my staff and management as well.
Right. So let's look at the mentees side now. What does that process look like? Like, if I'm new agent to your office, how do I get matched with the perfect mentor for me?
Well, first you got to get hired, right? And so we interview quite a few people on a weekly basis, and the method to the madness there today is I do the first 2-3 interviews. I do a personality test when they come in. I walk them through a Coles Notes version of what the mentorship program is and show them the effort that we put out. If we like those 2 hoops, then we'll go in and do a formal presentation, and I'll walk them through the whole platform of what the Century 21 system looks like from a world view to Canada to local, and then all the tools that the mentorship program has. So they see that we have a plan for them, and to tell them that in order for them to be here, they got to ask to be here, because they understand that they have to match the effort that we put in as well. And I even hire some people that might have to wear another hat to pay their bills too, because I was in that position as well. So I'm not saying you have to be full-time to start here, but at some point in your career, that's where I want you to be. So they have to ask to be here. And if they ask to be here, then I understand that I get it and they get it. They have to put a lot of effort in, because I'm not saying anything that's not going to happen.
So as a mentee, do I get to choose my mentor, or what happens if you match me with someone and it's just not the right fit?
Yeah, we used to do that. We used to just say Bob meet Sally, Sally meet Bob. But we let the new professional meet a couple mentors that we feel are a match. Not all 20 of my guys will want to mentor them. They might be too busy, not busy, going away or whatever. So you have to search out. Some of our mentors take more than one. I mean, I've got mentors that have taken 4 or 5 at a time. And I'm starting to like that concept more, because you got 2 new professionals sitting beside themselves, so they're not alone, right? Even though we've got 3 departments, they still feel kind of alone. At least that's how I'm seeing it over the years and years of doing this. So putting them in a collaboration with somebody else being trained by the same people is great. And it doesn't always stick. Sometimes it's the match isn't working. But you got to get these people to try harder, and there's always 2 sides to the story. But I'm always, the side of the mentor is, I ask them a lot of serious questions. What do you think? Why is it not working? What are you saying that they're not doing? And we try to make it work. And if it doesn't, there's other options in the office too, but we just don't let them hop from one to the other, because that wastes everybody's time.
Right. That's a good point. How long does this mentorship relationship last?
Yeah, probably for the rest of their lives, at least. Well, that's, but on the books, it's 3 deals, but it's a relationship that you have forever. I've got relationships with my first mentor when I was a kid, and I still see Jerry, and I still golf with Jerry, and it's, he's there if you needed to make a phone call.
You're
so
right.
It's just, and the different departments all have different times when they come in. So the new person's getting exposed to more faces and bodies in the office, because everybody has different schedules. But it's the rationale is you're building relationships for the rest of your life in this profession.
Yes, and I think that that's, like any mentors that you have in your career, is that usually you do have them for the rest of your life, right?
A good
If
one, yeah.
Yeah, if you're open to sharing this with the people that are listening today, how does a mentor get compensated for their time? Let's talk about what, I'm sure they feel that they're giving back to the industry and they're helping coach and mentor new people into this industry. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of satisfaction with, in that, but are they getting compensated financially to being a mentor?
Oh, absolutely. Because I don't know anybody that's worth their salt that would do it for free. There's companies out there that say they will or charge you nothing, but it's you got to have a value proposition. So we put the new professional on a split with the company, and whatever the company split is, we share that with the mentor, so they get a majority of that. And then after their first 3 transactions, we can go to the new the mentee or the new professional and say, congratulations, now you can pick from the menu that we have in the office that everybody chooses from, or do you want to stay in a mentorship program and carry on? Or if the mentor is also a team leader, do you want the opportunity of joining that team? Because now they both have been, usually it's 3-6 months together. They kind of know if it's going to be a fit or not. To me, I don't care if they join a team, if they stand on their own 2 feet, because we've got somebody really good within our firm.
So I forgot how long you said that you've been running this mentorship program.
Since the first day I bought the company.
Okay, so since 2000, and I think you said 5?
Yep.
2005. So what are some of the, and I think you referenced this at the very beginning of this episode, is what are some of the lessons learned? Like, you continue to improve this mentorship program. What have been some of your key lessons learned?
So where did we screw up? Is that what you're asking? We've made lots of mistakes in the process. Most of it, I would say, is communication and follow-up on a brokerage side. I think that's key. And making sure that you're meeting with the mentors separately and you're meeting with the new professionals separately. And then you have to meet with your staff to make sure that the people that you're bringing in aren't upsetting the workflow. I mean, sometimes you get somebody that just takes up so much time of staff and clerical and management that other people are waiting in line because this person either isn't getting it or too needy or what. And, we've had that in the office in the past. I can't see it that we have that in the office today. So those are the things, just to, your warning signs. And the biggest mistake I made probably was not being as thorough as hiring as I am today. We're pretty good. I think we're really good at the process, at the interview stage, at an overview stage, at a presentation stage, then management and I get together and we discuss, are we happy? And then we go on. So our communication today is the best it's ever been.
Great. I love that collaboration approach to make sure that you're getting the right person, right? Because that is so important. Yeah. If you have a very robust mentorship program, so if a brokerage wanted to start their own mentorship program, what are some of the tips that you would give them?
Call me. Call the other brokers. Call the brokers that you're not going to compete with in your marketplace, that you have have formed a relationship with, and talk it out, because every market's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, you want to create an environment that you have raving fans. Your office talks about the experiences that they have. They witness it online, because you're not only just putting pretty pictures up, but you're actually showing interaction with the office and the value that they're getting. You don't be afraid of picking up the phone and calling an established realtor that is a good person, just to see if you can talk to them about their business. It takes time to recruit. That's the biggest thing. It takes time to recruit established one, and it takes time to recruit a new one. Some of the new guys that we meet that I would love for them to have come work in the company. But if they go choose somebody else, they make a decision. That's it. I always say, put your head down, work really, really hard for 6, 12 months. But I'm going to call you because I like you and I'm going to follow up on you. And I get some of them back that way. But it's you got to get into a system. You got to get into a habit. This is your business, right? It's easier to do this when you're not trying to sell real estate on your own, which I don't. So I don't want to compete with my agents. I don't think they want to compete with me either. So let's get out there and work together, type of thing. But yeah, it all depends on what your structure is, where you are, what your goal is for your office too. And sometimes that changes.
Well, and this mentorship program really becomes a tool to recruit new agents because, as you said, and I love the term that you used, is raving fans, right? You create a great experience for your agents and they love it. They're loving the culture, they're loving the support that you provide. Then they just refer other agents to your brokerage. So it does become, an important growth tool.
Yeah, in a perfect world, that's your ultimate goal.
Right. So we talked about some details of your mentorship program. Let's talk about some of the other support that you provide new and experienced agents in your brokerage when they join you. So let's talk a little bit about when an agent joins your brokerage, how do you ensure that they're set up for success from day one?
Well, we have a process. Anybody that joins us, whether they're new or established, there's communication from the office of, again, who we are, management, contact information, conveyance, front desk, accounting, me, what our roles are, what are our emails and our cell numbers and stuff. Here are all the social media sites that you should be joining, so you can see. Here's our WhatsApp chat room, whatever it's going to be called, so realtors can talk to each other to get ideas, from something simple, who's a good painter, to something probably a little bit more complicated, like we had one today, who's the specialist in co-ops. And I oversee all that. And most of the time I don't have to get in there, but for the agents that have specialties, I jump in and connect them that way. What was your question again? I kind of forgot.
Oh, no, I was just wondering about when an agent joins your brokerage, how do you ensure that they're set up for success from day one? And we're going to talk a little bit too about the structure of your management administrative teams, because I know that you have a very strong team. And I know that over the time that you've, joined, you started your brokerage, you've really restructured things to work very efficiently and really in the best interest of an agent. So I just want to understand a little bit about how that, I'm going to call it onboarding, works, and how you provide support and what kind of support that you provide new agents when they join you.
Yeah, and I guess, over the years, there's fingers pointing at the companies too. We hired some people that we shouldn't have hired. We let them run a little bit longer than they should have as an employee. So you find that out as well. But now the way our structure is my managing broker, Doug. He's our general manager. Everybody reports to Doug of all the staff. If Doug has an issue, he comes and sees me. And Doug and I collaborate about if we have to shake somebody's hand to say goodbye, or how do we work this out to make it be better for the office, whether it's dealing with a staff member or one of the professionals. But it's communication. It's having regular meetings. I mean, when I started this, I wasn't having regular meetings. I was always told if there was an issue, but not when there's a good thing. So, if you have a regular meeting and you ask the questions and everything's going well, and you catch it before it becomes an issue, then you've got a really good system. And having a good general manager that understands the method to the madness of running a business, not only licensing rules and regulations, but trust funds, accounts, software, is important. And as an owner, it's equally as important that you're drinking the same Kool-Aid that they are, so you can actually go into the systems and see it yourself, not just rely on somebody else's fingers pushing the button.
Right. So we have you as the owner, we have Doug as the general manager. I also know that you have I think it's Angel and Natalia. And I know Natalia is probably part of this concierge program that Century 21 provides. And so can you tell me a little bit about the concierge program and the experience an agent? So if I was to come on board, you met with me, you liked me, your management team liked me, I'm starting day one. What does that look like? And how do you help me leverage all of the tools and technology and support that Century 21 provides in order for me to be successful?
Wow. Okay.
You don't have to get in detail, just, an overview.
Well, first off, I have Ariel and Alini as Ariel's our conveyance, amazing. Alini's conveyance and property management, and my CPA bookkeeper. So they're instrumental as well. The onboarding process is Angel at the front desk. She's the one from when we say that we want to hire someone, she sends all the contracts, the paperwork, stuff that's pre-filled out. So it's easier for them to bring their license in, whether it's a transfer or applying for a new one. Then Natalia, who is our concierge, she's asking for bios, headshots, languages. She's showing them all the social medias to join. If they're not good at that, she'll help them register for that. So everybody's different. So it's not cookie cutter. You find out what you really have is after you hire the person. And so, but our job is to communicate. And if that person isn't jumping through the hoops and submitting the information that we need, it comes back to me because I was the one that initiated it, and we chase. And if the person, all of a sudden we got somebody that it seems like it's too much an effort, we don't chase it anymore. And we'll just say, maybe this is the wrong place for you because we're working harder to get you to do something that's so simple. But Natalia is the concierge, and I think that's probably the best thing that I've done in a long time. Hated the idea when it came from corporate. I've told that at the beginning, but when I really started seeing the benefits, because you do get benefits, because this person is promoting not only your company, not only myself, but my agents, and adding extra support anytime someone gets a listing, gets a sold, does something great in a charitable format or for family stuff. She's there to help them promote it. You get an award. The system has umpteen award levels. She helps package up how the award is presented from corporate and promotes it ourselves and gives it to everybody else. So it's sometimes it's a job that doesn't get as much appreciation or respect as you think for the effort that goes in. But yeah, she does a great job, and we're happy to have her. But we've had some great ones before that too. But yeah, it just keeps getting better. We just keep trying to get better.
Yes, well, we appreciate Natalia's efforts here at Century 21 head office because she is a great brand ambassador. So it's really nice that she's there as almost like a safety net, for new agents when they join you. If I, need, some information or I need guidance on how to customize my website, she's there to help. So I think that that's really absolutely terrific.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, and Angel does it as well. Like Angel, Natalia, and I we know how to operate and drive the vehicle. So, we're all there at different times to help out. But it's a good collaboration from not only the staff to each other, but for the staff to the agents as well.
You talked a little bit about the WhatsApp chat that you have going on with your realtors, and if someone has a question, specifically a new agent has a question, everyone's kind of chiming in to help that person. What else are you doing to support your agents on an ongoing basis?
Well, it's a proactive, reactive business. The WhatsApp group was really good. One of my agents who we hired introduced me to the concept, because that takes a lot of time off your staff when someone, instead of phoning Angel at the front desk and who are the good painters, you ask your group of peers, because everybody's got different professionals in their tool belt, and it all depends on what part of the city that they're in. Vancouver's a big place, right? So there's photographers for Burnaby than there is for West Van, and same thing with painters and plumbers and stuff. So it's the support thing is, if whatever the agent needs, our job is to help them get it done. more of a point of training the agents so then they can do it on their own. But there's some agents that we all know might not be the best at social media. So I'll tap my staff on the shoulder and say, help this person out. Okay. And then, but at the end of the day, if we know that you can do it, but you're just getting lazy, then we'll stand you up and say, you got to stand up on your own 2 feet, or and get this done, because we're here to help you and train you to do that.
And, I follow Century 21 In Town. And for those of you that are listening, follow Century 21 In Town or as C21 Careers. But I do follow you on social media. And I also know that you have weekly office meetings. And I know that you cover a wide variety of topics. So what are some of the topics that you talk about at your office meetings? And I know that you do a really good job promoting them too, because a lot of times you'll get your guest who is, coming to your office meeting or, streaming in through Zoom to do a little promo video to talk about the content that's coming up in your office meeting. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's probably one of our biggest challenges. And it has always been from day one of having this company is the topics that you talk about are just listed, just sold, mistakes that somebody in the office made in a contract without putting them on a mat, changes to regulations, bringing in a well-respected lawyer to talk about the legal things, or an accountant, or to talk about the personal real estate corporations that you can grow into. We used to do it outside the office when I bought the company into a older hotel. Then we brought it inside the office when we did the reno, to doing it since COVID on a weekly basis to try to find topic. Because sometimes you sit there and it's 5 o'clock on a Friday and you go, what the hell are we talking about next week? And we don't know. And then I go into my Century 21 brokers, managers chat room and ask them for topics. So it's sometimes you'll get 18 people in our office and sometimes you'll get 55. It all depends on the flavor of the day or what we're talking about. But it's important that we continue to do it, because people are showing up because they see a value. And whether it's 18 people or 60 people, you're doing some sort of service for those people at that time for an hour and a half at that time spot. And we just got to keep trying. We just got to keep trying to find the topics that interest people, and that we can get your realtors to dialogue with you. That is probably the best advice I can give is don't talk to them, listen to them talk and ask them questions.
Well, I like that you use the Century 21 Owners and Managers Facebook group too, to ask other Century 21 brokerage owners, phone call, other Century 21 brokerage owners, what are some of the topics that are resonating with their agents, right? Because, that will, if you don't do the exact same topic, it might inspire you to think of something else.
In the meeting, sorry.
So let's now talk about you a little bit more, your brokerage and some of the growth that it's experienced. So I know that 2021 was a very strong year for you. I did some research on your brokerage, and based on my research, you've increased your agent count by 30% in a 2-year time frame. So that's incredible. In addition, in 2021, you are a Grand Centurion office, which is the highest level of award that you can get. And you're the 20th largest office by production in Canada. And we have 400 offices in Canada from coast to coast. And that is up 7 spots since 2020. So congratulations. You've done a really good job in 2021.
Yeah, it's we've been a Grand Centurion office since the first year, so we were proud of that, because I don't think a lot of offices in the world can say they're at the top 1% for, I think, 16 years in a row. And growing and retaining is the heartbeat of your brokerage. And we've had some great successes, and we've had people leave. We've had other offices offering, it's a race to the bottom when it comes to, we're not going to charge your fees if you come here, and then you get the agent that will try to get you to match it. And I've been pretty damn good at not doing that. It's because then you got eyes on you, right? And I'm not here to work for free. And there's a cost to do it. But we over the last couple of years, we really focused on the process and the systems that you're asking about, is the follow-up, the orientation, the implementation, because we put a lot of effort into everybody that we bring on. And we're in this niche of hiring brand new professionals in this office. And I think it's just because of what we're saying out there to the world is, come here and we'll help you. We'll train you. We'll support you. We'll give you a great opportunity to succeed. And we're not hiring everybody with the pulse. I mean, I laugh when you have realtors come in. I go, how many brokers have tried to hire you on the first day? And they all put up their hands. And that's not my style. You've got to see what it is that we do if you're brand new, to tell me that you're going to put the effort in and not waste my staff's time, management time, and my mentor's time, because that's more important to me. I have 140 today. I'd love to have 141, and I'll get there, but I'm going to get there with the right person for our gut feeling that we have, that we're going to bring on the right person.
Yeah. Well, it's always so important to make sure that you bring the right person into a culture that is exactly how you want it to be. What attracts, you talked about, you've been focusing on your systems and your processes. What attracts agents to your brokerage? So you've had a 30% increase in the last 2 years. What are bringing those people to your brokerage specifically?
Well, ownership's pretty cool.
It is cool.
It's I think it's a collaboration of what everybody's doing. What attracts people to come. I mean, I have a sign outside that says that we're hiring. I have, in my opinion, the highest visible real estate office in the Lower Mainland. We have a ton of walk-in business. We promote that realtors are getting web leads and floor leads and stuff like that. And we're training the person that's on floor to be the best, because if it's three pieces, brand, location, and you have an idiot that sits on floor, it's not going to work. So the brand's working, the location's working. Let's train the right person and have the right feel when they walk into the office, that they're respected. I got great front desk, that meets and greets. And then the training of the right person, whether they're a newer person that sits on floor or a 20-year vet, they know what to do, and they show up and they show up to work every day. So that's kind of it.
Michael, we've known each other for almost 7 years, coming up in April.
Wow.
So time goes by quickly. And really, since I've known you, you've always been focused on recruiting. And I even know that some of the other brokerages, out of the C21 brokerage owners, are coming to you for recruitment advice. So what are you doing to recruit agents to your brokerage? And is there any tips that you could give? Because I know that people are always trying to rack your brains to say, how can I better my recruitment process? And I know you have lots of great ideas.
It's more of a collaboration. That one of the reasons why I'm in this system is because of the brokers in the system, right? It's I can phone anybody and they'll either take the phone call right away or phone me back right away, and the same way with me. So it's not all about recruiting. It's changes in the marketplace, different rules and regulations that are coming in. But so I have a new team concept, so people want to know what that is. And I got that team concept from Paul Barron more than a couple of years ago at a chairman's circle. So we're sharing. We give good ideas, we give best practices. We'll tell you if you think you're on the right track or you're not on the right track, type of thing. So it's a good group of brokers that will share, whether they're established brokers or newer to the system. There's something that they're doing that I like, that I'm going to reach out to as well. And that helps all at the end game of recruiting and retaining, is having good ideas shared by the many.
Right. And we have, as you said, you've got solid systems and processes in place. We've got a revitalized brand. We've got tons of technology and tools and everything agents need to be successful. How are you sharing that message? So what are some of your recruiting tactics? And, are they different these days than they were, let's say, 5 years ago? Have you shifted some of the things that you've been doing to get the message out there to attract agents to pick up the phone and call you?
Yeah, it's some of the tactics haven't changed. The phone is the best tool that any broker could use. You have to be patient. You have to have a CRM that you can record your notes and your conversations in, because sometimes it takes a long time to get that person to come over, especially if they're an established realtor and they're happy of where they are, and you can't compete with happy. Right? The only way you can compete with happy is you give it to them for free. And that's not what this company does. And record your notes, because one day that person's going to phone you back and you can read your notes to see where you left off and carry it going forward instead of recapping everything. Having a presentation is probably one of the best things that I've done. And I share that with everybody. Anytime I do a major update to the presentation, I use Prezi.com. My 9-year-old son showed me that back in the day, and that was better than anything else that I've ever seen. So I still do that, and you can share it. So I post that on our broker manager's Facebook. What do you think? And if they catch a spelling mistake or something, they'll tell me, or they'll join Prezi and they'll copy it and they'll put their faces on. Email campaigns. I love Bomb Bomb. Bomb Bomb is huge as it pertains for me to reiterate what I just presented. So after I do a presentation with somebody and there's numbers flying, this and that, I have it all templated. I get my fat face on the screen and I tell you again what it is that we talked about. To further explain it, it sets tone. It gets them to. I always ask them to reply in a video. It's a little bit of a game in there too, but it's the follow up CRM. If you have a good CRM, and I don't care if you use the system CRM or another one, but you have to have a CRM that works. That's probably the biggest. That and the phone are the best tools to have, and having a presentation now is great. And the challenge of the presentation is you hear it all the time yourself. You just got to change your mindset that you remember these guys have never seen this before, and don't skip something. Say it like you've said it 1,000 times, because that's how you get good.
Well, we really, I'm sure on behalf of all the brokers in the Century 21 family, we really appreciate your generosity and in sharing, your updated presentations, because I know that a lot of people really appreciate that. So let's just stay on that for a second, in saying that, because you are so, free with your, some of this great stuff that you're doing. Many of our C21 owners consider you a mentor. So we've been talking about mentors. Well, I had a gentleman on one of our C21 brokers on in December, and he said, what, and I asked the question, what do brokers need when they start a new brokerage? And he said, someone like Michael LaPrairie. So you are a mentor to others. So they're, always wanting to pick up the phone and call you. So I'm just curious, when they call you for advice, what are some of the questions they ask you?
Well, that one guy that you mentioned, he owes me money, so that's why he said that. That was so. Cam. Questions that they ask. It's like, I think I kind of touched on it. Can you share your presentation? What are the new changes happening with you at council? I see that you've added some people. How are you doing that? It's it's all sorts of different things. I had the good old Miller team asked me about high-end home selling and a specific stat as something that came out. There are such a big range of questions, but it's being able to answer them and being available for them when they do have a question. So it's the mentorship is dear to my heart. I've had some great mentors. I had as a kid, Jerry Shalling, when I worked at a golf course. He's one of my closest friends. I had Bob Vickerstaff, president of an insurance company, that brought me on, put me in a mailroom to start, and I worked for them for 9 years. I've had a lot of mentors. I had Rushton at head office, right? And so I had some really good, I had some phenomenal mentors who turned into friends who were confidants and stuff like that. And I just want to do that in this office. And if someone wants to ask me what my team concept is, absolutely. If someone wants to ask me what my fee structure is, absolutely, as long as you're not in my immediate backyard, right? it's just being able to have a question or give an opinion. I'm pretty damn blunt when it comes to certain things, so I think people appreciate that too. I don't sugarcoat too much, and I'm there to help, because I get a lot of help from the system, because I can call anybody, and they'll help me out. I even phoned some of our U.S. guys. Manhattan, when the world was crumbling in COVID, I phoned the biggest Century 21 office in downtown New York and asked them what their life was like and what they're doing. I did that to Seattle. I did that to San Francisco. There's good people everywhere, as long as you try to connect with them.
Well, that's actually a really good idea. I didn't know you did that. That's the value of the Century 21 system globally, right?
Yeah.
What are some tips that you would give? So you started your own brokerage, C21 Brokerage, 2005. What are some tips you'd give someone if they want to start their own brokerage?
Okay, well, I bought an established one. It was about 30 people at the time. So it wasn't just the startup. I guess, it depends. Figure out your model of where you want to be. Do you want to be a retail location or an office on the 40th floor? Build out a budget of what you want to earn in every year, and then do your numbers and work backwards. It's you've got to be they won't come until the doors are open. That's always been that cliche that I've always heard, and it's so true. Build relationships. Have a great relationships with realtors that you'll probably never do business with, but they'll share a lot of information on markets, intel, and stuff like that. It's almost like how we say to all our realtors is, your biggest customer is probably going to be someone that will never do business with you, but they'll tell you everything and refer you to everybody. I got realtors that refer me to somebody that's brand new because they know their office sucks at mentorship. That's phenomenal. I love those. Those are easy introductions. So it's build relationships, deliver what you promise, and be honest with it.
That's great. We have two more questions before we wrap up, and I really appreciate your time. So what are some of the, this could be a big question, but let's drill it down a little bit. In your opinion, what have been some of the major changes in the real estate industry lately, and what has your brokerage done to adapt to some of those changes?
Oh God, we still got changes going on. I think some of the major changes in our backyard, probably government intervention. They keep trying to step in and change the rules, and they haven't really done anything other than confuse the population. The web is probably the biggest one as it pertains to as a tool to get your message out. There's so much now on the web that a lot of it isn't even current. And so the web, social media is by far another huge one, is getting your image and your message out. Having a call to action. There's no point trying to recruit somebody without asking for a meeting opportunity or asking what their program is with their office or what they like or what they don't like. But just being consistent, being available. Biggest changes. There's just been so many huge changes. COVID, Jesus. COVID was a big change. It scared everybody. But, after you talk to people that have been around for a while, like my dad and his friends and stuff, they had it worse than what we did. That makes you feel a little bit better, but it sure freaked you out. It made us be more report basis. Technology. We brought in a lot of stuff that we can all work in our pajamas in our homes type of thing. I got 5,000 feet here and I don't need it, but I love the space. So I want people to come back. But it's creating that opportunity when you see a crisis coming and being able to have people that are better at certain things that you can go and talk to, like my bank, my lawyer, all those guys I have good relationships with. Like I said, I can call anybody: George, Paul, Vito, Nadia, the Fulton girls, Cam, Patrick. These are all. Everybody has their own little superpowers, right? So I can reach out. I just talked to Chris Markham in Victoria about a couple of things. Everybody has something that they can share because Vancouver's a big place. We have lots of stuff that comes up, and I know other people have gone through it. So. Biggest changes are understanding where the changes are coming from and not being surprised. lots of reading on the regulations that are changing, what your boards are doing, we have a real estate council that's controlled now by our government, what are their intents and stuff, is being able to understand where your market's going. So when you get the phone call from somebody, that you don't say, oh, I didn't know that was coming, because that's the wrong person to be phoning.
Right.
I hope that's how you answer that question.
That is absolutely great. And I like it that, keeping, your pulse on what's happening and being proactive and being knowledgeable, right? Not letting anything, catch you off guard. And speaking of that, in your career, and it could be your complete lifetime, this does not have to be about the real estate industry, but what has been the biggest challenge that you've ever faced that ended up being a blessing in disguise?
Biggest challenge that I ever faced. Oh, I have a lot of challenges. there's it's both personal and business. That's hard. It's, you're running your own business. You wake up unemployed every day. You got to know what you're supposed to do. Heather says to me all the time, so what are you doing today? And, I was in a spot a few years back where, my systems weren't working, and database and CRMs are all kind of all over the place, and I couldn't answer the question. But today I can look on my computer, my device, and I know where I'm going. I know what I have to do. I have support teams that can help me get there, that I'm reporting to. I hired a coach to help us even get better at organizing. Chris Leader's guy, Harry, is fantastic. I call him, Doug's my marriage counselor. I'm dealing with the challenges that we can see coming, and I'm organized and I'm ready. Save your money. There's all sorts of challenges. I don't have anything that's keeping me up at night anymore. I used to have some people that were working for you that shouldn't be, type of thing. And make sure that you understand that Rick, who used to be the president of Century 21 International, I forget his last name, he told me one day, if there's anybody in your office that you don't want your picture taken with, don't have them in your office. So I got rid of those too. So it's just surrounding yourself with the right people. So the challenges, I guess, were not surrounding myself with the right people, and I think I've combated that. And I think that's paying off tenfold. And hopefully I'm smart enough to keep on that path and push ahead. And if somebody wants to talk to you about what it is that you do, you can do it. Mentorship is huge. Friendship is even stronger. That's what you get from a good mentor, because that's somebody that you can go to with a lot of stuff. And it's not all about your business. It could be anything. And having great friends. I'm so lucky. I got friends that I grew up with as kids in the sandbox, like the Chalwood brothers, and I don't even name them all, but they all know who they are, and that's important, right? And hiring people that you see that have that kind of sphere behind them, because if you see someone that doesn't have that, there's something wrong, right? You got to have a good social on the outside as you do on the inside to build a good culture.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for sharing your superpowers. That's going to be my new word, superpowers, with us. It's been really great to understand, in detail about your mentorship program, the support that you provide your agents, and some of the things that you're doing to attract new agents to the business. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, how would they get a hold of you?
Google me.
Google Michael LaPrairie.
21vancouver.com or 604-619-2223 is my cell, or 604-685-5951 is my office. You can find me on social media or anything like that. Just reach out, and I promise I'll get back to you.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. It's so nice for you to share your cell number.
Oh, thanks.
So you are either listening to this podcast live or you're listening to this recording on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcast. Or, of course, you went to the Century 21 franchise.ca website. For those of you that might be interested, Century 21 is one of the world's largest residential real estate company in the world with a presence in 86 countries. And here in Canada, we are 11,000 plus strong, and we're looking to align ourselves with like-minded individuals who share the same vision for what the future of brokerages look like. So if you are interested in growth opportunities, please feel free to reach out to me or my colleague, Gary Zalepa. You can reach us both through the century21franchise.ca website, or you can connect with me directly on LinkedIn or Facebook, and we can set up a chat. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.